Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, before I get started with this lesson, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Racha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth and rule well. Peace and blessings unto the hopeful elect, pushing his word throughout the four corners of the earth in truth, righteousness, and sincerity. To USA Shalom. This is your brother Yeshaya coming at you again through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. And in this lesson, I got a couple articles I want to touch on. Uh, Pretty much just touching on Gad, touching on how Esau, pretty much him taking over and him uh, 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 trying to integrate Jake into his way of living, right? Mainly Gad here in this situation, right? Esau is trying to indoctrinate Jake into his customs, his laws, his rules, his religion, right? His philosophies, right? His manners, you know. But anyway, let's go ahead and touch on this. Read this article. This is from history.com. It says how boarding schools tried to kill the Indian through assimilation or assimilation, right? Because that's ultimately what these schools were. You know, they were created in the 1880s. You know, it's almost like Esau tried to make it be like an act of mercy or like almost like they were helping out Jake, right? That's the way that they portrayed it as, right? As a way to help Jake, you know, help them learn their ABCs and one, two, threes, right? Help them, you know, be smarter and better. But not, you know, this is all ultimately a Trojan horse. You know, Esau was trying to remove the customs, the language, you know, as we're gonna go into, you know, but essentially he tried to turn them into Edomites, try to turn Jake into Edomites, you know, into the mindset of an Edomite, right? As you see Jake nowadays, right? That's ultimately what school is for, man, to indoctrinate Jake into uh, uh pretty much a brainwashing. It's pretty much a brainwashing into having Jake view the world in a certain way, you know, and to think of things, certain things being normal, certain things being out of place, right? Which is essentially why you see a lot of Jake uh, buck up against this truth because they're too far gone. You know, they're too deep. They're in too deep into Esau's poison, um, and ultimately, you know, it's all the Most High, right? It's all the will of the Lord because we were in that same boat as well at one point, but the Most High pulled us out of darkness, you know, and and put upon us His marvelous light, right? But let's get into a little bit of this article. It says, "Kill the Indian in him and save the man," which is why I'm probably going to title this lesson. Kill the Indian in him and save the man. So ultimately, what Esau was trying to do here was strip away the Israelite in him, essentially, right? Take away everything he knows and give him a new uh, uh, mindset, right? A new way to view things. Because before all this, you know, Esau was having a lot of trouble with Jake. You know, Esau had a continual problems with Jake. You know, especially with Seminole Indians. You know, Reuben. You know, Rawaban. You know, I believe I seen this in the article that they cost the United States Army or the United States government $15 million and a lot of casualties, like a ton, because you know Reuben and Esau, you know, were going at it, and Esau had no way to combat him. You know, Reuben was very subtle and very smooth with his guerrilla warfare. You know, especially over there in the what's that place called? Pretty much in the swamp areas of Florida, the Everglades. That's what they're called, the Everglades. You know, so hey, uh, Reuben was causing Esau a lot of problems, but uh, either ways, you know, all the tribes caused Esau problems, you know, but Reuben was a thorn on his side for a long period of time. But anyways, as I was saying, uh, before I deviated into that, um, they created this school right after the 1880s. And I believe it goes into it too. I believe I'll go into it here in a minute. But they created the school in the 1880s um, after they made Oklahoma a state. Like because back then, Oklahoma, the territory of Oklahoma, was once divided up by many tribes, many so-called Indian tribes, right? And they were all there because they were pushed from their native lands, pushed because Esau was taking over. You know, all these wars that they won and whatever, you know, they were pushing Gad to the west. And that's where you had the Trail of Tears, right? And all these slaughters and massacres that Esau did in order to try to remove Jake from those lands, right? You know, Esau just being the wicked, being a damn devil, doing what he does, man. You know, killing, stealing, all that shit. But anyway, um, like I said, these schools were created after or during Oklahoma, while Oklahoma became a state. You know, because like I said, Oklahoma was once Indian territory. You had what was called no man's land, which is like a little bar above Texas, like a rectangle. That little rectangle piece that's hanging off Oklahoma, that was called no man's land. But then you had the other portion of Oklahoma, which consisted of a lot of Eastern Indian, not East Indian, but Native Americans from the eastern side of the United States, right? Because they were getting pushed. So they called that area uh, uh, Indian territory, right? But through the process of time, they eventually ended up pushing Jake out of those lands as well, and then making it a state. So you know, this just further goes to show that how Esau will create a treaty, and then he'll break it. He'll create another treaty and break that one, and it was just a constant repetition of breaking treaties. Esau demanding more land taken away, or little by little, until eventually it came to the point where Esau would force Jake off those lands. Like he would physically send troops down there and physically remove them off those lands, right? But uh, in this case, you know, I guess there was a treaty made, if I'm not mistaken, and pretty much they agreed. You know, Gad ended up agreeing to have um, their children indoctrinated in these schools, right? But like I said, I believe this was probably like I mean I know this was like a Trojan horse. I don't think Gad fully knew the scope of what was going on in those schools or the reasons why you know Esau uh, wanted to do this, well do it like this, right? But essentially we know why. It was to separate the child from that culture, right? From their culture, from their heritage, right? From knowing who they are, right? And through the process of time is where we get to where we are right now, right? That's why you see Gad, you know, up in those reservations men through. Don't know who they are. I mean, they might know that they're Cherokee, that they're Sioux or Lakota and all this and that, but they don't know who they truly are. They don't know they've come from the tribes of Israel. They don't know who the Most High is, who His Son's name is. You know, Gad had a uh, Gad had that at one point. You know, even though it was kind of distorted, they still had it. The language, right? The name of the Lord, who they were. You know, but Esau did a number on Jake to where they completely lost all that. But anyway, I want to continue reading this article. It says, kill the Indian in him and save the man. This was the mindset under which the U.S. government forced tens of thousands of Native American children to attend assimilation boarding schools in the late 19th century. Essentially, these would be, what do you call them? Yeah, they're indoctrination schools, but there's a certain word, re-education centers. That's the word, that's the term, right? They have to do all this and learn all this and take tests in order to, qualify or to validate the fact that you've been programmed, right? Now you believe what the enemy wants you to believe, right? Now you ain't a threat or as much of a threat, right? But anyway, continuing on, it says, decades later, those words delivered in a speech by U.S. Cavalry Captain Richard Henry Pratt, who opened the first such school in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, have come to symbolize the brutality of the boarding school system. And you see, whenever it comes to raising up a child, right, you got to understand that the first years of a child growing up are vital as far as raising them, teaching them, you know, discipline that he needs, uh, correcting certain characteristics that you don't want your child to have, you know. These are things that were once done amongst within the family, you know. But Esau made it to where he's the authority figure. He's the mother and father. He's the mentor, the teacher. You know, essentially making him taking the role away from the parents, right? It's essentially what he's doing, and he's raising these children in his image, right, in his likeness, essentially. You know, if you get what I'm saying. You know, now these kids are gonna grow up with American values uh, uh, ingrained with them, right? And it'll be harder for them to fight against those core values that that have been programmed with, right? As you see to this day, you know, Jake don't want to leave America. Jake is so engulfed in the American traditions and their values, what they hold near and dear, that you know, Jake could take offense if you say, you know, DTA, right? Jake could take offense if you dishonor the flag, right? All this and that. So, hey, and this all stems from years and years of indoctrination, right? But this is kind of where it started, right? As far as in recent years, because this happened before. You know, this happened before. As a matter of fact, let's get that in First Maccabees chapter 1, and let me see, verse 11. It says, "In those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow." Now, straight out the gate, you know, when you go into the book of Exodus, Salaki. Let me get it real quick. You go into the book of Exodus, the 23rd chapter, and the 32nd verse. Yep, it says, "Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor with their gods. They shall not dwell in thy land, lest they make thee sin against me. For if thou serve their gods, it will surely be a snare unto these." But right here, point being, the Most High told us not to make a covenant with the heathen. He told us not to make a covenant with their gods. And by them doing this and putting their children in these schools, I believe this was by force, if I'm not mistaken. I believe they were actually uh, taken there by force. I'm not really sure. I have to continue reading. Um, but I believe it was like an order. They were told that they had that their kids had to go to these schools. But anyway, um, that's a way for them to indoctrinate them, right? And essentially, um, well, at least pursuant to verse 32, it says, "Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor with their nor with their gods," right? Um, that's essentially what God did. Made covenants, several treaties with them, made certain deals, you know, but not knowing that Esau and making deals and then giving away land and all this and that, but not knowing that Esau is ultimately the devil. He took everything, he stole everything, he broke treaty after treaty after treaty. This is the man you're dealing with, and you continue to make covenants with this man. You know, it's almost like that parable of the snake charmer, right? Who you know who's gonna pity a snake charmer, essentially. But anyway, let's get from here. Let's go back. Salakia, what was I? First Maccabees. First Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 11. It says, "In those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, Let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow." So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinance of the heathen. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen, and made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief. It says, "Now when the kingdom was established before Antiochus, he thought to reign over Egypt, that he might have dominion of two realms." I think that was it. Salakia. I think I was missing a point. Maybe the second chapter. No, that was it. Oh wait. Salakia, bear with me. Trying to find this point. Salakia, Salakia. No, that's it. I thought it was there, but never mind. But anyway, let's go back to the article. History.com. It says, "The history of this forced assimilation, this is forced, right? It says, is far from settled. On August 7th, 2017, the U.S. Army began exhuming the graves of three children from the northern Arapaho tribe who had died at Pratt's uh, Carlisle Indian Indian Industrial School in the 1880s. The children's names were Little Chief, Horse, and Little Plume, names they were forbidden to use at the school. So even the names, you weren't allowed to use your name, your actual name given by your parents. You know, which that's something that Esau did, to Jake when they were coming off the slave ships. In 12 Years a Slave, you had what's his name, Solomon Northup, and what did that cracker call him? He called him, you. I started whipping them, telling them, nah, your new name is Platt, or your name is Platt, right? That's just Esau, forcing his dominance, over Jake. Continuing on, it says students at Carslow, this word, man, it's kind of weird to pronounce. Carlisle and the roughly 150 other such schools that the government opened were susceptible to deadly infections like tuberculosis and the flu. Esau's over here eating it, man. And it only makes sense. It only makes sense. As a matter of fact, it goes into it right here. During Carlisle's operation between 1879 and 1918, nearly 200 other children were buried in the same cemetery as the Northern Arapaho boys, according to the Washington Post. So these crackers were killing Jake, man. Who knows what went on in those schools, man? There were probably some lynchings. Who knows, man? It says, knowing the devil, knowing Esau, hey, can't put nothing past this man. But it says Carlisle and other boarding schools were part of a long history of U.S. attempts to either kill, remove, or assimilate Native Americans. So it says to kill, remove, or assimilate Native Americans. That was the whole MO, man. It says in 1830, the U.S. forced Native Americans to move west of the Mississippi to make room for U.S. expansion with the Indian Removal Act. Right, I believe that was in 1830 that was implemented. But it says, but a few decades later, the U.S. worried it was running out of places to relocate the country's original inhabitants. Man, the nerve of this man. The nerve of this man to just assume dominion and power over a land that's not his. It's like somebody coming into your house, asking to stay in your house for a bit, and then time passes, and this man is telling you this area is his, this area is yours. You gotta go here at this time. You gotta do this at this time. You can't go here. You can't go there. Your room is blocked off. Like, yo, that's essentially what happened, right? As a matter of fact, let's get a precept for that. Let's get Habakkuk. Is it Habakkuk? Let's see. I think it is Habakkuk. Salaki, how's it go? Right here. Habakkuk 2 and verse 6, it says, shall not all these take up a parable against them, and a taunting proverb against them, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. Woe to him, destruction unto him. Right? Because Esau took everything here by force. Right? How long and to him that laded himself with thick clay. That's going into his debt. But point being is woe to him that increases that which is not his. Right? This man constantly going places, gallivanting around the world, taking people's resources, taking people's lands, right? Putting people in debt, destabilizing people's economies, people's governments. This is what this man does, man. His game plan never changed. It's always been the same. Right? Now he's being exposed of who he is. Now it's being revealed. This man is the wicked. That's all he does, man, is go around committing wickedness. And we just read First Maccabees, right? What in that same chapter, First Maccabees 1 and verse 9, it says, and after his death, talking about Alexander the Greek, they all put crowns upon themselves, meaning his generals, right? It says, so did their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. So that was the beginning of Esau's uh, dominion over the earth, right? Started with the Greeks, right? And it says the evil started to multiply in the earth, right? Showing you this man is the wicked. This man is the border of wickedness, as we're going to get here. Malachi 1 and 4. Whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness. That's essentially what it is, man. Everywhere you see Esau, man, he's out here committing some wickedness, right? These people are the wicked. It says the people against whom Yahweh hath indignation forever, hatred for all the things that you've done, including this, what we're going into, right? But it says, continuing on, uh, as white population grew in the United States and people settled further west toward the Mississippi in the late 1800s, there was increasing pressure on the recently removed groups to give up some of their new land. According to the Minnesota Historical Society, since there was no more Western territory to push them towards, the U.S. decided to remove Native Americans by assimilating them. An 1885 Commissioner of Indian Affairs, Hiram Price, explained the logic. It is cheaper to give them education than to fight them. Meaning what they were doing was programming, Jake. That's essentially what they were doing. They weren't educating them. They were programming them, right? I believe there were certain pictures here. There's a couple of pictures. Look at that. That's like the before, right? When Jake was in the tribe, or in his, the customs, right, that he grew up in. That's him after. Man, that's a shameful sight, man. Look at that. That's them before. This is them after. Got the split haircut in the top. Got the suits, whatever the fuck that is. There you go. You got the 3-piece suits. Got the hats. Shit, fucking Esau probably had Jake working for free up in this bitch. Yeah, just look at that. Looking like they're playing some rugby or something. They're just going back to what we just read, man. The gyms, right? Gymnos. All these things, right? The Greekish fashions and all this and that. Everything that Esau claims to be, or at least from his um, culture, right? But all this, hey, this is essentially the Hellenization of Jake, right? A similar thing that happened in Jerusalem, right? Whenever the Greeks, try to force Jake, pretty much Hellenize Jake, this is essentially what happened here. Let's read a little bit more. It says, as part of this federal push for assimilation, Boarding schools forbid Native American children from using their own languages and names, as well as from practicing their religion and culture. They were given new Anglo-American names, clothes, and haircuts, and they and told they must abandon their way of life because it was inferior to white people's. You hear that? I'm gonna read this again. As part of this federal push for assimilation, boarding schools forbid Native American children from using their own languages. So you couldn't speak whatever it was language you were speaking. Now you were forced to learn English. It says and names, so you had to get a new name, as well as from practicing their religion and culture. So you weren't allowed to do to sing, those chants or those songs, right? You weren't allowed to have your hair in braids. You weren't allowed to do certain things. It says um, they were given Anglo-American names, uh, clothing or clothes and haircuts, and told them they must abandon the way of life because it was inferior to white people's. It says though the schools left a devastating legacy, they failed to eradicate Native American cultures as they hoped. Later, the Navajo code talkers who helped the U.S. win World War II would reflect on the strange irony this forced assimilation had played in their lives. Right. That's exactly what it was, man. It's irony. You were fighting against them, then they assimilated you, and now you're fighting for them. Shit, crazy. But it says, as adults, the code talkers found it puzzling that the same government that had tried to take away their language in schools later gave them a critical role speaking their language in military service. Wow. Uh, but yeah, I mean that's pretty much the point. That's pretty much the point on this. I also want to get this article. This is the removal of tribal nations to Oklahoma. Right here it goes to how it was. This is the map I was telling you about. Right, this is a map of Oklahoma. Right, as you see right here, it says no man's land. And then you have the Cherokee, you have the Creek, the Choctaw, the Chickasaw, the Cheyenne, the Arapaho. You had pretty much all the tribes of Gad here. Right, you got some that went to uh, South Dakota, right? But right here it goes into like bullet points, right? Timeline of removal, and it lists bullet points of things that happened in that year, major turning of events, right? It leads all the way to um, Oklahoma became a state. Oh, Slovakia. Oklahoma became a state in 1907. I thought it was 1880. Let me see. Okay, it says 1890. It says the Oklahoma Territory was organized. It says the Jerome Commission began work to introduce tribal nations, with the exception of the five tribes and Osagie, to cede lands and take allotments in severalty. Damn. You have to give up the land. Whatever land they pushed you into in Oklahoma, you had to give it up. It says 1892, or actually 1891, the Sac and Fox Shawnee lands were open for settlement. So they already got pushed out. 1992, 1892, the Cheyenne and Arapaho lands were open for settlement. So here's just a continual process of them removing uh, Gad from those lands. But anyway, that was pretty much the point, right? Got the point on that. I want to go to Proverbs 22. See, because Esau knows the importance of raising up a child right in your customs. This is the reason why you send kids to school nowadays. You know, raise them up a certain way that's not to the standards of the government. You know, they come and take a child away, right? It can be your son. It don't matter. They'll take him away because ultimately he's property of the government. Just like each and every one of us. You have social security number. You have birth certificate. You belong to somebody, right? But it says, Proverbs 22:6, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he would not depart from it. See, so like I said, the first years of a child are very pivotal, you know, leading up to him being a teenager, right? Those very key, important times uh, to train up a child, right? Because like I said, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he would not depart from it. See, so Esau knew this. I mean, I can already see Esau now, bringing the scripture out, you know, uh, uh, while he's, in those classes. Let's get another one. Let's get Sirach 30. Salakia. Keep on going to that search bar. Sirach 30 and verse 3. It says, he that teaches his son grieveth the enemy, and before his friends he shall rejoice of him. Right? It says, he that teaches his son grieveth the enemy. That's right. Because Esau didn't want no more, so-called rebellion, so-called rebellious uh, uh, engines running around, causing havoc to his society. you know, he wanted them assimilated. He wanted peace from Gad, even though he was the one, picking the fights. He was the one taking territory. He was the one robbing and stealing. He's the one that did all this shit. It's just like now, right? Here it is. Esau did all this shit. He done all his madness, but now he wants peace. Now he wants to get along with everybody. After he done did all that shit that he did. Nah, my man, you're gonna pay. There's a price that's indebted to the Lord. Cause you touched the apple of his eye, man. You touched the apple of his eye. Now you're gonna have to pay severely. But anyway, Sirach 30 and verse 4 says, though his father die, yet he is as though he were not dead, right? Because through him, he still carries the same mindset. He's carrying the same mindset as his father, the same mindset, the same character, the same belief, right? And the father will ingrain that into his son. But it says, for he hath left one behind him that is like himself. Exactly. And Esau knows this, man. Esau knew this. That's why he had to, separate the child from the parents. But let's get the book of Psalm. This is the whole reason for this. As a matter of fact, let's get Judith real quick. Judith 5, and I believe verse 20. Yep, Judith 5 and 20, it says, now therefore, my Lord and Governor, if there be any error against his people and they sin against their power, let us consider that this shall be their ruin. And let us go up and we shall overcome them. So Esau knows if Jake is transgressing and sinning, well, sin is transgression of the law. But if Jake is over here committing sin, that they're susceptible to get hands laid on them. The Most High, will be away from us, right? So it says, verse 21, but if there be no iniquity in their nation, let my Lord now pass by, lest their Lord defend them and their power before them, and we become a reproach before all the world. See, so Esau knew this. This is the reason why he had to do it the way he did. because he didn't want Jake, knowing that he's an Israelite, knowing the ancient customs that we had. He wanted to take Jake down to the deep end of wickedness, bring him down to that damn uh, cesspool, completely engulf him to where there's no way for him to, reach out, right? Essentially what Esau did to all of us. He stole, he stripped us of our heritage, stripped us of our culture, our knowledge of who we were, and then gave us what? Oh, you're Native American, you're African American, you're black, you're Mexican, you're Costa Rican, you're Puerto Rican, you're all these things, right? But they'll never tell you that you come from the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They will never tell you that, which are facts, right? The uh, scriptures state, um, how does it go? Romans. Um, Let me see if I can find it real quick. I believe in Romans 8. The Spirit bears witness with our spirit. Verse 16, Romans 8:16, it says, the Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High. That's right. Just the fact that we're suffering under the curses shows that we are those people, right? In Genesis, the 28th chapter, hold on. Deuteronomy 28th chapter. I don't know why I put Genesis. Well, here's one, Deuteronomy 28:37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword among all nations, whither Yahweh shall lead thee. And that's exactly what happened to us. Right here, verse 45, here's the point. Deuteronomy 28, verse 45, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahweh thy power, to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder upon thy seed forever. You see, so this is a sign and a wonderment unto us to know who we are, essentially, right? Because it says it'll be a sign and a wonder upon thy seed forever, right? It'll be something that we will not be able to escape and will always follow us wherever we go, right? Let's see. Now from here, let's get, as I said, Psalms. So let me just search it up. Psalms, the 83rd chapter. In verse 1, it says, keep not thy silence, O power, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O power. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come with us, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. That's what our enemies did. Mainly Esau, right? This is exactly what he did. This is pretty much what we're talking about. We're talking about Esau and what he did to our people. Mainly the tribe of Gad, right? But what he did, it was strip away. That's the reason why it says right here what it says. It says, kill the Indian in him and save the man. He wanted to kill the Israelite in him, right? And just leave him a shell of his former self, and then fill it with a lot of his bullshit, right? Which is what he did. So now, Let's go back to Psalm 83. It says, "For they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee." And it lists all these nations, right? Now let's get another one. Let's get Psalms 62. And we're going to start at verse 4. It says, "They only consult to cast him down from his excellency. They delight in lies. They bless with their mouth, but they curse inwardly." You see? So that's all their purpose, man, is to keep us in a low state, keep us away from our power, keep us unplugged, essentially. Keep us unplugged from our power source, which is Yahweh Wah Yahweh Shah, which is why they give us all the bullshit, right? Give us uh, science, different philosophies. They don't care, what you delve into, as long as you don't tap into the scriptures, the truth of the scriptures, right? But just a simple fact that this man, or at least a lot of this shit that he's done, a lot of Jake already knows. I'm just reiterating the point, right? Because these things have to be exposed. These things have to be revealed, because it further shows the wickedness of this man. The scriptures talk about never trust thine enemy. Jake is so used to, especially in today's age, right? Jake is so used to uh, uh, going to the park and hanging out with, Esau. Going they go to school. We go to school together, right? But Jake is so used to trusting, is so quick to trust their enemy. Is what I mean to say. Jake is so quick to trust their enemy, to where that's where you see a lot of Jake sometimes, man, getting fucked up over these damn crackers, man. You hear stories of Jake, matter of fact, I heard this recently. I believe Apostle Hard made a video on this. This damn coon ass Jake, man, almost got drowned because he got pushed by his Edomite friends into the damn water or lake, whatever the hell it was. And the dude was drowning. He didn't know how to swim. The motherfucker almost died. He had to go to the hospital. And the motherfucker was like, "Oh, it wasn't their fault. I forgive them." See, motherfuckers like that, that's the type of mindset that's dangerous to Jake. Not knowing who your enemy is, trusting everyone and anyone, thinking everyone's your pal, everyone's your friend. Now we have enemies here, man. You are hated by these nations. These nations hate you, man. They want to see you down. They want to see you low. They wish they can go back to where they can call you boy. They can call you a nigger. They can call you wetback, spit. You see? Y'all Jakes better stop, man. Just separate yourself from this cracker, man. Scriptures talk about though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not go unpunished. You Jakes that's teamed up with Esau hand in hand, y'all gonna go down alongside with them. Scriptures talk about they that are found with them shall be killed by the sword, roughly paraphrasing. You're over here, alongside Esau and alongside this America and all this bullshit, and y'all gonna be charcoal for the fire, man. Right? But let's get one more. Let's get Habakkuk 2, and we'll start at verse 16. It says, "Thou art filled with shame for glory. Drink thou also." A lot of his things that he was proud of, him taking over the United States, the fact that he was able to take down the Indians, right? Enslave the Negro, you know. Hey, Esau was proud of that. Now we're seeing that glory being turned to shame. It's a shame because the way he conducted, man, he robbed, pillaged, he stole, he murdered, man, he did all kinds of debaucherous acts. He mass genocided people. Man, we can go on and list the shit that this man has done. It's never ending. He continues. Right? But now that everything is being turned on his head, man. Things that he was once proud of, now he ain't so proud of it. Now he wants to hide it. Because it's being revealed that he's the wicked. But continuing on, it says, Drink thou also, and let thy foreskin be uncovered. The cup of Yahweh's right hand shall be turned unto thee, and shameful spewing shall be on thy glory. This is exactly what's happening. Shameful spewing. To the point where even his uh uh their children, right? These Edomites now, right? These uh millennials and Gen Z, whatever, right? Even they're complaining of a wicked father, right? That's in the scriptures. Let me see. Complain. Did I spell complain? Oh, Slaki. Let me see. Uh, Salakia. Let me see. Might be in the Apocrypha. Salakia, bear with me. Yeah, I can't find it. But anyway, that was pretty much the point. I don't want to drag this on a little bit longer than it has to, right? That was pretty much the point. You know, Esau is going to pay for what he's done, right? This is just him. This is part of prophecy, right? He came and did this, you know, stripped us of our heritage. This is things that was foretold to us of what will happen, right? We would uh, pretty much lose our way, right? We'll fall away. But anyway, I pray this lesson was edifying. I'm gonna go ahead and close it out by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who taught me this truth and rule well. Peace and blessings unto the hopeful elect, pushing his word throughout the four corners of the earth in truth, righteousness, and sincerity. Until the next time, I'm going to say, Shalom.